In today's video, I'll be talking about different options you could take for buying a new computer. So you could buy a pre-built computer like this, a Dell XPS Desktop, for about $2,400 with these specs right here, as you can see. The 14th generation i7 14700K, Windows 11 Home, Geforce RTX 4070 Super, 64 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, and 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe, and 750 watt power supply in a mid-tower case. And the one that I'm using right now is this computer these are the specs for it. It's got a processor which is one generation less than an i7 14700. This is a 13,700 KF, but everything else is the same, like the GPU, operating system, and everything else. It has additional stuff like a DVR, which is a Elgato HD 60X. It's got a lot more features than this computer right here. I have more storage space, about 6 terabytes of storage space, 3 M.2 NVMe's, 1 terabyte each, so 3 terabytes of that, a 512 gigabyte M.2 NVMe, a SATA 3 SSD, two of them, a SATA 3 hard drive, and all of this costs about $1,974.34 before taxes. That's the computer that I'm using right now. And if you want to build one yourself with the same specs as Dell, you would be getting a better operating system like Windows 11 Pro. You could buy the Windows 11 Pro operating system at Hookies. That's where I buy my operating systems. I buy it here. You could buy it for about $31 for Windows 11 Pro. Windows 11 Home is $1 less. You could buy Windows 10 key as well. Pro or Home, doesn't matter. So exact same specs as the one that you saw here, for about anywhere from $1,720 to $1,750. I'll leave all the links for all the stuff in the video descriptions below if you are interested in building a computer or buying a whole new one. So if you want to get the AMD variant, you get the Ryzen 7 8700G, which is equivalent to this. The motherboard's different and the CPU's different, but everything else is the same. So about $1,650 to $1,680 for that. If you plan to spend less money, you could get an i5 14600K, which has about, I think, 6 cores instead of having this is 16 cores. This is 20 cores. I'm not sure how many cores this thing has. Let's take a look. It has 14 cores for that. This has 6 cores, the Ryzen or the AMD version. This one you could buy for about anywhere from $1,150 to $1,200 for the mid-tier i5 1460K. If you get the AMD version, the Ryzen 5 7600 6-core, about $1,120 to $1,150. That's how much it would cost you. And this one would have 32 gigabytes instead of 64. The same for the i5, 32 gigabytes. You would have less SSD storage space, 1 terabyte versus 2, and you can get it for about this price range. You could get an i3 if you want, which is a lower tier still. Which is much less expensive than a i5 or i7. Or Ryzen 3, which is also kind of like equivalent to an i3. But I don't recommend anything less than an i5. I would get an i5 or an i7, depending on your budget. If you don't have a lot of money, then you could stick to a Ryzen 3 or a i3 if you want. It would be considerably less, like maybe $100 less. So instead of it being $1,120, it'd be $1,020, something like that. For the Ryzen 3 version, if you pick the i3, it would be $1,050 instead of $1,150. So for about $1,000, you can get a whole computer, depending on the processor that you pick. And you could get a lesser graphics card, and you could bring down the price still. Still more, you can bring it down more. But I would recommend at least 64 gigabytes of RAM. That would be recommended. Anything less than that, I guess if you can't afford it, you could pick 32, but anything less than 32, I don't recommend. Because programs these days, especially games, require a lot of RAM, and you need a pretty good GPU as well. So RTX 4060, it's not a super, I'm sorry. It's just a regular RTX 4060. Should be good enough. Let's see how much RAM this has. Has about 8 gigabytes instead of 12 for the RTX 4070 Super. So you could pick these options. I'll leave everything in the video descriptions below if you're interested in getting one. But it's usually cheaper to have somebody assemble your computer, or assemble it yourself by buying the parts. I have a video which shows you how to build a computer if you're interested in it, and I'll leave this in the video descriptions and also in the video cards on the top right corner. Thanks for watching.